2023, Red Jackson Dance did 11.5 hour live. This was so epic. We had to have a discussion. Check out some of the highlights from that live.
What he was saying about the media, what he was saying about certain things. Okay, let's hear him.
For me, the most inspirational aspect that I see in Michael, and that I also mirror or reflect on my own life, is to embrace your own individual and unique style.
Who love the costumes, but don't want to wear it. So
Shino had this great love for the Jackson 5, especially Michael Jackson.
It was the King Michael tour, and
for the after show party, I got
the rare item from 10 years ago is not the same.
I've had a cool glimpse into what he was like behind the scenes. Yeah,
that's in our cultural DNA. Those songs.
It was a roller coaster, the best roller coaster you could ever think of.
Always made sure that everybody that worked for him understood how thankful he was.
The whole Michael Jackson thing was an accident on steroids.
And our bus was trying to come out of the stadium.
The feeling. You said, look at West Side Story. They're not precise.
The tour of his house. I know. Looking back.
I mean, it comes with highs and lows, right? I mean, the highs must kind of make up for it. Actually, I've got it here.
Thanks.
Yeah, there you go.
I wanted to say,
your eyes, you see that reaction, and that's special.
Had an interesting experience with MJ1.
That was just a very small preview of the 11.5 hour live. I was so inspired by seeing this. Not only that I want to discuss this with everybody, but actually ask Red Jackson himself a few questions. So with that being said, let's just get into it.
Hello, everybody. Straight from New York as we celebrate Michael Jackson from Michael Jackson Week. I witnessed the ultimate thank you and love letter to Michael Jackson from Red Jackson himself. I'm still on a freaking YouTube high. I've never witnessed nothing like that. So I am just so honored to be interviewing the man, the legend. Yes, legend. Oh my goodness.
That was an incredible intro. Thank you. Great intro there. I like that a lot. Such a cool surprise.
You know, I'll be honest, I wanted to spend more time on it, but I was like, no, I have to get this up. It's a whole different time from where you are. So before I ask you a whole bunch of questions, I just want to first tell the people who you are, where you're from, and we'll just take it from there.
Okay, well, I'm Red Jackson. Well, I go by Red Jackson. I'm a Michael Jackson fan. I have been for a couple of years now. One day, I started trying to learn to dance like him. That started an Instagram account. Then I started a YouTube channel interviewing some of the people who knew Michael Jackson best. And so I've been doing that for about 3 years now, and it's been an honor, and I'm enjoying every moment of it. And I'm based here in Wales in the UK, so it's so cool to be talking with you, all the way in New York.
This is so awesome. I'm going to do a slight recap, but let's say hi to our audience real quick. This is someone new to me, Mr. Tommy. Yo.
Hello.
Hey, Sophie. She has a she loves your live. She loved your live stream.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. This is our regular Teresa. Hey, Teresa.
Hello.
Listen, even though you did not see Red's live, that's why I did the snippets in the front. I will get into my thoughts in a second, but you have to watch this. I was just like, I know it's 11.5 hours, but it felt like 5 minutes to me. Hey, Jen. All right, so let's do a real good, quick recap, just in case you guys did not see what I witnessed. Let me just get this up. Here we go. All right. So we are kicking off celebrating Michael Jackson Week. And this is like just a series of things going on. Now, initially, Red was not in the lineup, but he should have been because he kicked off celebrating Michael Jackson weekend by, so just in case you guys don't know, starting today, that's why I had to come a little earlier, plus Red's in a whole different place. we start
Yeah.
celebrating on Station Head. I'll get to that a little bit later on. But on the 19th, there was 11 and a half hour live featuring people from Michael Jackson's past, fans. It was amazeball. Like, so with that 11 and a half hours, I'm like, oh my gosh, it really felt short. He actually did the next day, which is the 20th, another 1 hour and 30 minutes, which means it was 13 hours of celebrating Michael Jackson's legacy. My and most important, guys, Bubbles definitely became the star if you saw that 11 and a half hours. We'll ask about that. And so let's get more into Red Jackson and just celebrating Michael Jackson. All right. So let me get you back on the screen.
Awesome.
Red,
Just tweeting about this now. There we go.
I am in awe of what you did.
Thank you. Thank you. Me too.
I got inspired to do lives from watching MJ Fangirl. And of course, you and I are from the same community with the Star Wars people. And we're just like that. I really felt like lives are really cool, but they're very challenging. What made you say, hey, let me do not just a live, but 11-hour live? Like, what was the inspiration for that?
I mean, it was a few weeks ago, and I honestly don't remember thinking too hard about it. Obviously, I've been doing these interviews on my channel just video style for a while, and a few months ago, I did 1 or 2 live streams, just sort of hour long, hour and a half long. And I know there's some other people in the Michael Jackson community who do live streams often, so I kind of just thought, Michael's birthday coming up, I'm starting to get into these live stream things, and I want to kind of celebrate everything, the community, the people inspired by Michael, the people who knew him, and just kind of mash it all together, I guess. And so I just started sending some emails. People were up for it. So out comes my Excel spreadsheet, you know, getting times for everyone, and it just kind of went from there, and it turned from, you know, a fun little live stream. Well, it was still fun, but fun long live stream, you know, just fitting everyone in, turned into 11 and a half hours, but it was a super fun 11 and a half hours, and it flew by.
It really did. When I see stuff like this, I would say the only other live that inspired me to this level was the MJ Fangirl live debates.
Right, yeah.
I always tell people, like, if you're going to come into YouTube, I'm not even going to say the Michael Jackson space, but in YouTube or TikTok or any social media, what brings something different or unique to the plate. And what I liked about your channel was, first of all, you did like interviews with people that I never heard of or never would have thought to ask. But to be honest, you interview people that are part of the Michael Jackson ecosystem, which makes you brilliant. I guess you're just so clever on how you approach things. Because I was just like, first of all, we're all locked down. And second of all, that's clever. Why don't we interview people more behind the scenes?
Yeah,
so
I mean,
I was just like, that's awesome.
I feel that it's pretty important to sort of shine a light on these people. I mean, a brilliant example is Jerron Casper Kennedy. He's the guy who taught Michael Jackson his, you know, the most iconic move, the moonwalk. But everyone sort of associated the moonwalk with Michael and only Michael. And so these people were, you know, are legends. And I think they sort of deserve more attention and recognition for that. So, yeah.
That's so clever. If you guys haven't, let me get this up there real quick. If you guys are not familiar with Red's channel, I got lucky. The algorithm was in his favor, and somehow hit all the way from England. He's in my feed. But this is Red's channel, or one of his channels. Please make sure you guys make sure you follow him. He's actually in the description bar already, like how to find this amazing thank you note to Michael Jackson. And what I really loved about your live was it was so many, it was the diversity, the different age ranges, the different places all around the world. I was just like, this is amazing. And everyone had different unique connections to Michael. So
Right.
you asked us about our connection. What's your connection with Michael Jackson? How does he resonate with you?
Well, I think the very first thing, the first thing that made that connection initially was I saw a tribute show, and so the only thing I saw was the dance and the music. So I think that kind of struck something with me somehow, somewhere, and I just sort of fell in love with how this guy could move and perform like that, and his sort of presence, his aura. So then I went and watched loads of Michael Jackson videos, and years later I found out about his sort of other side, the humanitarian and whatnot. So, of course, I appreciate and admire that, but I think initially it was just that sort of stage presence and the way I don't think any artist now, comes close to this sort of the special thing he has.
You know what's interesting? You might remember the name of the person that you first interviewed the other day.
Yeah.
She said Michael Jackson has an energy about him, and I was just like, she's right. I was just like, he's different because
Yeah.
like you don't know why you're drawn to him, but there's an energy about him like no other. And so I
Exactly.
was just like, wow, like I've seen your live. Please, guys, don't judge me. Now 3 times, and on the 4th time I'm going to watch it. I want to take notes. I didn't know everyone in your life, but I want to. I'm so intrigued by the
Right.
different people that you brought from across the world. There's some people I was just like, wow, this is so cool. This person's so cool. Who's that? Who's that person? How does he know him? Like, it was just like,
Yeah.
just so many people from around the world. What were your challenges setting this up? I mean, clearly there was a time difference with all of us. How were you able to pick like, how is this going to come together?
Okay. I think from doing sort of prior interviews, on my channel, releasing them fairly frequently, I'm sort of accustomed to, you've got to factor in time zones. You've got to speak with people about what they want to talk about, what they don't want to talk about. You have to know how to write things in a certain way. And so most of the people at first that I contacted were returning to the channel. And so I just sort of sent out a bunch of messages to the people I was like, I absolutely want to return. And thankfully, they all said yes. And so it was just a matter of then saying to that first person, okay, where will you be on that date? What time works best for you? Getting one person in, then the next person, then another person, and just kind of working that out from there. But as far as challenges, I'm not sure. I think it's always difficult to get new people on. For this live stream, I had some new guests, Star Hayes, Alex Gurnett, Rob Disner, among many others, Bashiri Johnson. But absolutely, it was an honour to chat with them. But they're a very small few out of loads that I've emailed, because you email so many people and just don't hear back. And so it's that thing of spending so much time researching people and reaching out to them to hear nothing back. So I think that's the only sort of challenge. And then I guess as far as the actual live stream, it's just sort of being hungry and stiff. But, that's about it. It's a fun ride, really,
That was, I think you're the longest live I've ever watched. I think the only other person I've watched a long live, but I was falling asleep in between because it was a gaming live, was Star Wars Theory.
Yeah.
He was playing this game for 11 hours. And I just stood up and said, I'm going to watch. I just want to see how long this guy's going to go. And so I was just like, wow. But what made yours unique was, first of all, your clusters were very well organized. Your round tables were very well thought of. Like, these are the collectors. These are the YouTubers. And I was just like, this is, excuse my French to my family because they don't like when I curse. That was badass of you. That was very badass. I was just like, I hope
appreciate
the
that.
estate and just anyone in general from the community sees that. And then next time when you ask, they'll be like, sure. When you asked me, I was like, oh my God, thank you. I literally just got off a vacation. I barely got any sleep. I was like, I just want to be on this project. And I'm like, I'm so glad I said yes.
It's a
Because you
pleasure
got
to
me
have
the
you part
week
of it.
before. I was like, you got me the
Yeah.
week before, but it was literally right off of my vacation. I said, I'm going to make this work.
Yeah, I mean, surprisingly, a lot of it was fairly last minute because I started, the idea came a few weeks ago, even maybe a month or two ago now. But, when it's a month or two in advance, you kind of think, I'll do a bit now, do the rest later. And then later comes. And because I have a second channel, Red's Reviews and Interviews, I'd been emailing this local Comic-Con about going there doing some interviews with the actors, and I didn't hear back. Oh, thank you. I didn't hear back from a while, and then in the middle of planning this live stream, they came back to me unexpectedly. So all of a sudden, I had to write questions for like almost 30 people in this live stream, plus a bunch of actors at this Comic-Con. So it was suddenly, oh my gosh, so much to do. And so I think a lot of it's just kind of about that. Almost discipline, just sitting down and saying, I'm just going to write. I'm going to do all these people now and just sort of focus. And not rushing it. Making sure I get these sort of tailored questions that are, thoughtful and provoke insightful answers.
That's what I like about your channel, both your channels. Like I said, it's so cool that we have the whole geek culture thing in common, as well as Michael. Yeah. And in part of our intro, one of your guests had said, one of the things she resonated with Michael is make something your own. Like, yes, we're all inspired by him, but who are we individually? And I celebrate individualism, and I'm like, what sets you apart is your thoughtful questions, how organized you are, and you're so young. You're in high school, and I'm just like, what? You carried yourself like a boss, like a real producer. I was just like, what are you going to be 5 minutes from now? Like that. I was so honored to be part of this, because I was like, you mastered the software, because I hope I could disclose this, but that was your first time with StreamYard, right?
I'd used it a tiny bit before, but not to this extent, so no, not really. This was my first time, properly using it, for that long, getting loads of comments on, trying to manage everything all at once, so yeah.
Yeah, that and for those who work with live, it's not easy. Some people think it's easy. No. It's not. You have to deal with your guest technical issues. You don't know what they're going to say. And sometimes you have technical issues. I know for me, I always have technical issues. For those of my regulars, you guys know. So I would say your dreaded antagonist was the echo. The echo will come up from time to time. It's like, no.
I don't know why. I have headphones in. I don't know why. I mean, it's not coming out my speakers.
It's all your guests. So I've learned the hard way to always have your guests, if they don't want to use the headphones, just have them on the side. Yeah, I've learned the hard way. I was like, and sometimes I couldn't figure out who's doing that. Who's doing that? But you're lucky. You only had echo issues a few times. It wasn't like a long time, and you found a way to problem solve. And I was just like,
yeah. I appreciate that. It means a lot.
Cheryl writes that it didn't even. Hold on, I missed one. That's the one I was looking for. Cheryl writes, it didn't feel long. I just got back from London, jet lag. Yeah, Cheryl's from London, by the way, but she lives in New York.
Awesome. Yeah.
And that's what makes it unique. Like after your 11 hour, half an hour, I was just like, I need more. So I literally just watched it again.
I mean, it's getting me that watch time. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But I've had a really, really great response to it. Like really great. I've been loads of messages and tweets and people sharing it. And way more than I expected, actually. And so I'm just really glad that people are enjoying it and people are watching it, because the first, I'd say, 2 years or so with the channel were pretty slow. slight sort of incline, but it was pretty slow, that first 500 subscribers or so over the first 2 years. And then it kind of went up from there. But this year it's been a little slower because I haven't been uploading videos as much. So I announced the live stream just maybe 2-3 days before I did it, and yeah, the response has been great. So many new viewers as well, so I'm super appreciative. And I'm appreciative to people like you, because you've been there, almost since the beginning.
Yeah, there was just something about you that just resonated with me, because it's rare now. I'm going to say something that's horrible, but I don't watch a lot of Jackson YouTubers. I have a very select few that I pick.
I'm the same, honestly.
Yeah, it's like because you have an individual style that makes me go, now that's cool, and I'm like that with all the things I watch. Like, I don't just watch anybody for Star Wars or anything for gadgets. There has to be something about you that stands out, and I was just like, I'm always learning from you. And I think for me, like, the YouTube channels that I love the most are the ones that I learn things from. I'm learning about Michael's legacy through different perspectives, and that's what makes you very unique.
Yeah, I try with my guests to always get people who I think will provide really interesting stories, but I always try to do as much research as I can, watch prior interviews, not too many, because you don't want to be kind of influenced by them in a way and know what to expect. Because you want to write questions that are different from what's already been asked. And I think part of the creation of the channel was I wanted to do something that was different, I think that's the thing with YouTube. You can't really do something the same as someone else and succeed unless you do it way better. You have to bring something unique and, somewhat original. And so these interviews, video style, with all photos coming on screen and whatnot, with a specific sort of interviewing style that I'm still working on, it's constantly sort of progressing. It just kind of went from there, and I'm really grateful to everybody who watches.
Natalie writes that you were a really good interview and you asked great questions and was respectful. Yes. I'm not going to be specific, but there was one part where somebody was having issues with technology. And what I liked about you stayed calm, and you were just, the way you handled yourself, you just knew the person knew they were in good hands, because you could tell they got flustered. And I'm just like I don't know what you're going to be 5 minutes from now, but you have such a greatness about you that whatever you do, you're going to be very successful. Like, I've even saw your Star Wars and Stranger Thing interviews, and I was just like, you're different. Like, you could just tell you put a lot of thought and research in what you do. And I'm like, I know that takes a lot. Like, you could be doing other things like playing video games and doing nothing. It's like, wow.
That's kind of why I started, because obviously I'm fairly young, and I was spending, most of my life just Fortnite and Minecraft video games, not really doing too much. And then the lockdown hit. And so you're hearing about all these crazy things happening in the world and, people dying everywhere. And I mean, I didn't have a crisis at all. That's not what it was. But I just kind of thought, like, all this crazy stuff is happening. We've got all this time at home. I kind of want to achieve something. I don't really want to be spending all this time playing video games. I want to make the most of this opportunity. And so that's where it started. And I was terrible at first, actually, I was asking guests, I was emailing them questions, and they were recording themselves doing the answers, because I was pretty shy. I didn't have the confidence to do the video calls. One day I started doing video calls and I was terrible. But then I think after every single interview, I watch it back. I watch it back several times, because when I'm editing, and each time I set a target for next time. So I think just building upon it each time, slowly sort of refining it.
You did an amazing job. I'm just like, especially me doing live as well. There's so many challenges when you have elements like you have. There was one part, I'm not going to lie, I have no idea how you were able to insert those long interviews. But I was just like, that's dope. Like, I know how to do good intros and outros. That I figured out. I was like, oh, this is really cool. But I was just like, he got a full-blown 30-minute. It was inspiring. And it's just like, what I noticed about me is I'm like you. I can only be still for so long. And then I go, I have to do something. I've been like that since a little kid. Were you always like this? Where you would be like, you know what? I'm just going to do something just to do it.
Not really. I mean, I'm trying to think. No, before the lockdown hit, I was just kind of a bit more normal, I guess. Just not really anything too different. Yeah, just video games, and I'd read a book every once in a while. But then lockdown hit, and I just sort of started the YouTube, just to kind of make the most of it. And obviously still balancing that with school and, other life things, walking my dog and whatnot, going to school, doing homework, having a social life, seeing friends, Yeah, and I think just then it kind of hit me. I really want to do something, achieve something, even career-wise, you can never start too early. Yeah. So I thought, it'd give me a bit of a benefit in the future, hopefully, if I can say I've done this, this, and this. Yeah, so it wasn't really always in me. When I was like a good few years before I started the channel, I've always liked sort of celebrities and films. So I'd watch like the press junkets and talk show clips on YouTube. So I think they probably put something in me subconsciously. I probably thought, oh, celebrities, that's cool. But nothing ever happened until the lockdown, where one day I just kind of got the idea, hey, I'm going to start a channel. And I kept going with it, and I'm still going with it.
That's awesome. In terms of your YouTube journey, where do you see this channel going, or is it too soon to say?
I mean, we're just under 2,000 subscribers now. We've got, thank you, 100 and I think it's around 140,000 views. And most of that has come since about last August. Last August, I interviewed Jennifer Batten, Ola Ray, Lavelle. So it was kind of like 3 in a row that kind of did pretty well. And then Kingvention happened. So it was just like boom, boom, boom. Just sort of by chance. So I think last August was when I kind of got noticed a little more. And since then it's just sort of slowly going up and up and up. And so I just kind of wanted to keep doing that, I guess. In my head I have like a list of dream interviewees. But obviously I just want to keep doing it. I've started the second channel, and also maintaining, not letting this affect other aspects of my life. Keeping it in balance, still trying to succeed in school and having a good social life and not looking at the screen all day. But yeah, I think for the moment, just keep going with it, see where it takes me. Yeah, I've started the second channel, the film-based channel, and I recently had the opportunity to go to a Comic-Con and interview actors there. So hopefully with that channel, maybe similar things like that. Maybe as a career go into either journalism or presenting or something like that. Just sort of see where it goes, just ride the wave, see where I come out in a few years' time.
I think that's the best approach about it.
I hope so.
No, it really is. Like, I do have certain things about me that I would like to happen, but I think the whole ride the wave thing is the best way of going about something.
Yes.
You mentioned Kingvention, and some lady messenger said she can't wait to meet you.
Absolutely.
How was your first experience with Kingvention? Was that your first Michael
It,
Jackson meetup like that?
it was insane because I'm in Wales in the UK, which is right next to England, and MJ is like not too prominent here. Obviously, it's Michael Jackson, but I don't think I know any sort of necessarily Michael Jackson fans. No one I can think of, at least. Obviously, people know his music, people enjoy his music, but I think he has a sort of larger fan base in other countries, or even in England, in the UK. So I'd never been to any sort of MJ event, and it was just as my channel was getting noticed a tad more. And so I was starting to sort of get a bit more of a glimpse into the MJ community through, social media. But I went to Kingvention, first MJ event, first Kingvention, got to be an influencer there, which I was super excited about. So we went up to London, and first day was a dance class with Lavelle Smith Jr., and we were waiting outside the dance class, and this fan I knew from social media came up, because I think we knew we were both going, and I was like, just sort of amazed that someone, I know from online is right here. Then got to meet some of my interviewees in person. Then the next day was the actual event. That was super cool. Just sort of, there were stands with all people selling Michael Jackson stuff. There were people dressed with Michael Jackson sort of clothing, Michael Jackson music, Michael Jackson memorabilia, just MJ everything. So it was almost strange for me to step into that without getting any sort of, it was just sort of straight into MJ everything. I didn't realise how strong of a sort of community it was in person. A memory that stands out was there was an after party in the evening, and it was my first real sort of disco or anything. And obviously the MJ hits are playing and everybody knows the dance moves. So we kind of, nothing pre-planned, we just kind of got into these lines almost, and loads of us were doing the same moves at the same time, almost like something from a musical, how they all sort of just know the exact same thing. So that was really cool, just looking around and everybody's just having such a great time celebrating this person they all admire and appreciate. It was just kind of surreal, seeing all these people I knew from the internet, all these fans, anyone you go up to you can talk to because you have the same interest. And I know you've had like a real good glimpse at that because you do loads of events.
And you know what's interesting? Each time I literally get goosebumps because, in the interview you had of me, I was so shocked about what I was witnessing and somehow formed a YouTube channel because I was like, oh, year 2. Oh, year 14. Yeah. Like, it's still going. I didn't have this as a child. I'm from a very strict religious background, so my mother wasn't having it. But, it was just like the MJ fan community is literally the most positive and electrifying community I've ever been part of. And I'm part of several groups. I'm like, there's nothing like it. It's like, and then with what you did, when I said, first of all, you humanized Michael with your interview. You brought stories that the world needs to hear. Because what if I'm not a Michael Jackson fan? What if I believe lies? What? Watch this interview from Red. That's all I have to tell you. I've learned stuff from that. I was just like, from someone that was serving them sandwiches to someone who managed Neverland to a fan. Where's Jenny? I know I saw Jenny somewhere in here. Jenny just being a regular fan and just telling her story. Yeah. These are stories that need to be shared because not everyone knows who the real Michael Jackson is. And in 11 and a half hours, you found a way to say, this is a small glimpse of who Michael Jackson is.
Yeah, I think showing, his whole sort of life in a way, interviewing people who knew him from childhood and, his prime and his later years, and also people who've been inspired by him. And I think I was really drawn to this whole interviewing thing because as a fan who obviously wasn't there when Michael was big, I'm just hearing things from other people, and so I love speaking with these people and hearing firsthand what happened and what it was like.
I don't think you realize it, or maybe you do. That's why you have your channel. But we are in what, like, a level of history of Michael Jackson's life that is epic. Like, I don't know if anybody realized he passed away 14 years ago. Things are stronger than ever. And I'm like, the only other time I saw this kind of energy was when I was a little kid, because I'm a little kid in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
I knew of his legacy because everywhere you went was literally Michael Jackson, everything. But now it's just like, he passed away and everyone is still discovering him and loving him as if he was physically still here. And for you to have made history on Saturday the way that you did, I hope people are inspired on what you did. I wouldn't copy it. The whole point is just to be inspired by what you did. But it was just like, hi, I saw Red Jackson's thing and I'm inspired to do something on this level. Like, I will hope that everyone is inspired by what you did. It was awesome what you did, Red. Like, I've done a lot of YouTube and a lot of events. I still got goosebumps from what you just did. I've never seen it like that.
I say it a lot, but that really, really does mean a lot. I'm super grateful for that. And I'm super grateful to you sharing it and sort of giving me this platform. I really do appreciate it.
No, I can't. I'm like still speechless. Leah writes, Red speaks so eloquently. Such chill vibes too. This young man is going places, no pun intended. Yes.
Thank you.
You truly are. And don't let anybody what I've learned about myself, unfortunately a little too late in life, but thank God, hopefully God will give me many, many more years, is I let other people get in my head. Don't let anyone get in your head. You're different. Celebrate it. Sometimes you might be by yourself, but you're different. Just don't let nobody change you. Because it's just I'm learning to be around more people like me. I'm a workaholic. I love to work and I love to create. And if you're not doing one, or learn, if you're not doing one of those three things, I'd rather not be involved. I don't want to hear about no one's, look what they're wearing, I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm here to create.
I feel you.
I'm here to learn.
Good vibes.
Yeah, good vibes, change the world, share Michael's legacy, I just feel like when you're really in the vibration of what you're supposed to do, things like Saturday happens. You're in a whole different vibration. I just like, like, did he just interview 30 people? And then if there was any issues, it wasn't on your behalf. It was just mainly technical stuff that you can't control. I was just like, I thought I was watching a telethon on television.
Thank you.
Like you had a producer and you had your mom on cue giving stuff, even though she wasn't part of it. It was like, here's Peggy Pillow.
That was like, that was unexpected for me. I asked them, oh, please don't watch it, because I kind of get, not embarrassed, but when someone is watching. But yeah, they must have been watching and, on cue. So, that was just luck, I guess. But I really think, everyone has something unique about them and has something they can do, because there's nothing that special about me, before I started the YouTube. But there's nothing too special about me now. I'm a normal person, I just do this for fun in my free time. I think if you have the discipline and if you really, really love it, I think everyone has something like this they can sort of give and, put so much sort of love and work into and create something.
That's interesting. I definitely think you're special, though. Discipline is actually a very hard thing to do. That's what makes people special, to be honest, to push through things that other people are not willing to do. Don't sell yourself short. I was just like, from the minute I saw your channel, I was like, I remember I was telling all my girls in New York, I said, have you heard this guy named Red Jackson? Oh my God, so clever. He's doing stuff from Zoom. That's awesome. I couldn't believe what you were doing. So I'm like, no, you're special. You really are. Everyone's special, but
Yeah.
you're standing out, dude. Like you
I
really are.
appreciate that.
Like, wow. Oh
I
my
appreciate
God.
that.
Do you
That means a
realize
lot.
that the history was made on Saturday, whether you realized it or not?
I mean, from what you're saying, I guess so. But I think it's hard to know when you're doing this whole YouTube stuff. Obviously, you see the numbers of how many people's viewing, but it's hard to know how sort of known it is, how big or small it is. I'm not sure if you relate at all, because when I was just a fan watching YouTube, obviously you know who the big Michael Jackson YouTubers are, and you know what the events are. But when you're doing it yourself, it's hard to know then where your event stands and where you stand because you're sort of so in it yourself, if that makes some sort of sense.
Right. It's just awesome what you did. And I hope that everyone continues to just share Michael's stories and share your gifts. You know, Pecky, who makes those pillows and her outfits, and you know how everyone, the tribute artists and what they bring. I hope you guys never stop sharing Michael's life, because this is what it's about. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen a celebrity celebrated like Michael. Never. And it's well
Yeah.
deserved. He gave his whole entire life for
Mm-hmm.
this and was vilified for being who he was. He was such a giving heart.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I noticed a lot of your people spoke about the things that he did, his humanity acts. It's
Yeah, almost all the interviewees always mention that. I think just because Michael never really did. It's such a big thing, such an admirable thing. And yeah, absolutely deserves more attention. I think it's definitely overshadowed by so many other aspects.
I don't know why it's overshadowed, but I noticed, in the world that we live in, it just seems like chaos, destruction,
Yeah.
anything negative is considered like cool, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not enough people being celebrated for being good and doing good things. And I feel
Yeah.
like Michael Jackson, like one of your guests mentioned, like he was surprised on how many good things that Michael did, but Michael never shared it. And then we as fans and or bodyguards or this, like we're like, oh, did you know this about Michael? The way I was raised, in our religion, you're not supposed to tell people what you do, and I'm assuming Michael was the same. So in
Yeah.
order for you to be honored by God, you can't speak on what you do for others. So, and I'm like, that might be why Michael was so quiet about it, because you want your blessing in your afterlife for those who believe in that. So I
Yeah.
was just like, but there's a whole book. This is our book of the week, about the real Michael Jackson, his humanitarian acts. I am so glad I picked this up. This is part of the book fairies club. I'm still learning about Michael, and some of it's from your channel, whether you realize it or not.
Yeah, I mean, I really appreciate that, but I want to sort of accentuate to everybody watching. I don't like the light to be on me too much. I mean, it's an honor for me, and I count my blessings, every single moment I spend in the sort of presence, whether it's virtual or in person, of these wonderful people with wonderful stories. I'm just kind of like a way for them to share their stories, to me, to send to the fans, sort of thing. And I mean, I'm a massive fan myself, so I'm sort of in massive admiration of loads of these people myself. And so, yeah, I mean, it's just an honor to hear these stories and sort of share them to the wider world. Play a part in it, at least.
You know what I've learned from you, and I think you were like the first person, and also MJ Fangirl, is to start learning about these people, like, and what they contribute to Michael's legacy. I be honest, especially the younger version of me, when I was your age, I was extremely shallow. Still am a little bit, and I just never like got into like what makes things work. I had like when I went to college, I've learned to get into like research and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, you guys have inspired me to really level up on learning more about Michael Jackson. People like you, MJ Fangirl, Tori from Invincible Jacksons, and just take this, because this is real history, and just to see it in a different perspective is just so inspiring.
Yeah, I think Michael Jackson was obviously extraordinarily talented. And I enjoy not just hearing stories about him and what made him so special, but Michael Jackson couldn't be Michael Jackson without some of the people around him. And like you said, the sort of ecosystem that supported him. And so I'd like to hear their personal stories as well. And I always try to ask about them and their careers rather than just Michael, to sort of strike that balance there between obviously being an interview with this person and then sort of under that an interview about Michael Jackson also, if that makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. We have a new person to your channel who will be binge watching. I'm with you. Even though I've seen probably 90% of his posts, I saw it in real time. And when I saw some of your guests come back that were on previous ones, I said, I need a refresher on what I missed.
Yeah.
I hope the Michael Jackson estate and the Jackson family sees that post, only because I feel like because of your professionalism and just your knowledge and awareness of the ecosystem, I really feel like I hope special assignments and things come your way. Like your sponsorship was actually really good too.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean that's just sort of like, that was crazy. When they reached out to me, I was like, yeah, me? But yeah, I mean, it's a blessing. And I've been talking with someone who is in touch with the Jacksons, so fingers crossed something may possibly come of that. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoys sort of watching all the content. But I can't watch my old content. I cringe at my old stuff. But I always try to keep sort of moving forward and looking ahead.
I always watch my old stuff to know what not to do, to be honest. So please watch your old stuff. And I'm always nitpicking, like, oh, I don't like the lighting. Oh, I don't like that. So no, watch your old stuff and keep it up so people can see the growth. I'm like, no, like that's part of the YouTube and just TikTok or even life journey is to see the growth. And so you appreciate it more. Like that's part of learning. And, like, I can send you some of the people I learned, like how I did my lighting and all this other stuff. And of course, I'm legitly a geek. I got my gadgetry name from my college years. Shout out to Innocent. He literally just said, "You're such a gadget girl." And he goes, "Hey, Gadget Trish." And I was like, I loved it because I'm like, yeah, I didn't do it. I'm not that clever. It's my mom and brother are nerds, and my brother, awesome dude, he used to take things apart like our television and put it back together. And then I'm like, Mom's going to kill you. And he goes, I know what I'm doing. And just one day I just started realizing that I'm understanding what my brother's doing. So you're just like, huh. So, but I am
You're
inspired
one of them
too. I'm not as good as my brother, but I love to learn, and I just love to just, oh, how do you do that? How does this work? Like with YouTube, I struggle all the time. Like I'm supposed to be an editor. I suck at it. So I had to learn other aspects of the business to figure out, and like on YouTube, you're the producer, the editor, you're everything.
Exactly. YouTube's a whole lot of things, sort of all in one. And a lot more work goes into it than people think. Absolutely.
Yeah. There's a little snubbing still. Like some people are, oh, you're a YouTuber. And I'm like, okay. Like, what does that mean? I think YouTubers actually work harder because we're everything. Unless you have money and you have a staff. I don't have a staff. I know you don't have a staff. So it's like, no, we're everything. Oh, Stacy Dog writes, thank you so much. God bless you both and your family and friends. Thank you so much, Stacy.
Thank you.
I congratulations. I know you don't want the focus on you, but I'm gushing because I could. I've been gushing over you for a while because I was just like, I love when people inspire me. I really do. And I just want to give you your flowers. Like sometimes we don't tell people what they mean to us because, it's ego. I said, I have no ego. I love creative people and I love people who think out the box. And I just want to give you your flowers. I appreciate you doing this for me, Red.
Thank you. Yeah, I shout out to you too. You need to give yourself some credit. I mean, you're one of the sort of original best Michael Jackson YouTubers. So shout out to you too.
Thank you. Oh my, I'm going to save up money. I'm going to try to see you in Kingvention, not this year, but next year.
Absolutely.
But those who want to meet Red, and if you have the
Yeah.
coins to go, he will be there this year. And
I will.
whoever's watching, whoever has the power to get him to Thriller Night, please get him there, because I can't wait till you're a certain age and you have that kind of money. I want you there next year.
I wish. Oh, thank you. I mean, I appreciate all that you do. Absolutely.
I'm manifesting
And yeah.
now.
And then when he's at convention, yeah, I mean, I'll be in this probably, so you can't. It's hard to miss me, you know. But I mean, I really appreciate people coming up and saying hi. Last year it was my first time, and it was just after we sort of walked into the main area with all the sort of memorabilia and the stalls. And this guy walked up to us, me and my parents, and he was trying to tell us something, and we were really confused at first. Then we realised he was asking for a photo, and I was just completely sort of like, what? you know, I thought he would have wanted us to take a photo of him or something. Like, you know, it kind of spun me out for a minute there. But, I mean, super, super grateful to, you know, everyone who's sort of supporting me along the way. Because I wouldn't be able to get the interviews in the first place without the viewers and without all the people supporting. So I'm, you know, indebted.
Two things. How do your parents feel about your YouTube growth and growing success?
I mean, first things first, super supportive, because, you know, I wouldn't be able to do things like convention otherwise. But obviously, there's the importance there of that balance, you know. You've still got to have a social life, you've got to get some fresh air, you've got to, you know, do well in school. But that's, you know, something, even if they weren't telling me, there's something that I personally find important as well, you know. Not spending too much time on the YouTube, but obviously, you know, seeing where it goes, keeping with it, and yeah, they're proud, and so I'm grateful. Yeah.
I think parents' support is everything. My mom was literally my biggest cheerleader, and I remember, like, any little money my mom would get, she would go, "Here's money for a camera," and I'm just like, you believe in what I do, so I'm so glad your parents are behind you, because not everyone has that support, and at the end of the day, you need to believe in yourself. But it just helps so much more when your parents see
pushes you forward.
Yeah. Are your parents Michael Jackson fans as well?
Not really, actually. My dad's like not at all, really. He's just sort of not interested in MJ. My mum is like, especially since starting my channel, she is a little more. I don't think she'd probably count herself as a fan, but obviously growing up in the 80s, you know, with the Bad album and whatnot, yeah, she's kind of a fan enough to, you know, seeing the interviews and going to convention and stuff. I think she's like borderline fan now, starting to lean into it a little more. So
that's actually unique, because most of the people you interview, their parents' influence of Michael Jackson is the reason why they got into Michael, including me. My aunt was my mom was a big Jackson fan, so my aunt was a big Michael Jackson Thriller fan. My aunts and mama have a lot to do with me being so big about it, but that's interesting. Like, yeah, they play stuff here and there, but yeah, whatever. Like, that's really cool. So you just I heard his music, I saw his work, and you were just inspired.
Yeah, they took me to see a tribute show one night, like years ago. I think it was 2017. I think, obviously not because they're necessarily fans, just as a casual thing, you know, there's a Michael Jackson show nearby, let's go see it. And I didn't want to go, actually. I don't know why. I think I probably, like, you know, Michael Jackson, who's that, some old guy or something, you know, I didn't know. So I was not interested at all, really. I wasn't rude about it, but I was just like not too bothered. I went and, you know, there they are doing Billie Jean and performing the Lean, and I was just like, wow. And that's how it happened, and then I became the fan then. So it's kind of that strange thing of going to being not interested at all to becoming a massive fan. I think, especially because my sort of generation, Michael Jackson isn't as spoken about so much. because there's more of a focus on modern artists.
Of course.
But I think, from my experience, not just speaking as a fan, just speaking, more sort of subjectively, I guess you could say, you can't compare Michael Jackson and the modern artists. I mean, Michael Jackson was just on a whole other level, and so I was just sort of in awe of the way he moved, the way he sung, the way he performed, the short films. And yeah, that's how it happened.
It's so interesting. Like, I know for me, there was this one moment, I was a little girl, and a bunch of people just started getting up and dancing to like something from Off the Wall. I'll never forget that energy it was in a pizza shop. I'll never forget it. I'm like, why are they doing that? They don't do that for anybody else. And it's just like how your moment, there was just this one moment that just sparked a little different. It's just like, I think what inspires me to keep going with the YouTube channel, because some people are like, are you still with this? I'm fascinated by you. I'm fascinated by Joey. I'm fascinated by anyone that's like 25 and under that has this love for Michael, because that means something connected to you differently. Like I said, I grew up with it. This is like, hey, it's part of my, go 80s. But it's just like, wait a minute, you were probably like 2-3 years old when Michael died. This is unique. That's what I said. There's real history being made. And like on TikTok today, all my feeds, all these young people dancing to Michael. I am in awe of this. Because like, usually with me, I'm actually more into modern music, which people are surprised about. I'm not big on older music. So I don't understand how Michael's still charting. But then I'm like, of course you understand. He's different. Michael's different. We've heard all those interviews you did. What makes Michael special? The energy, the connection, the humility. It's just so many components that makes him just different from everyone else. So I said that's why his legacy is probably still growing, even though he's passed away.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Like, wow. Like, I have a feeling like someone needs to write a book about Michael's life from 2009 and on, because that's the most mind-blowing thing I've ever experienced. Like, y'all are like interacting like he's still here. That's awesome.
Yeah, I like that. I think, I mean, just super important to keep the legacy alive and sort of spread the whole sort of message, almost, I guess you could say. Not in a preachy way, but, look how cool this is. 2 other people my age, just friends and whatnot, so they sort of almost understand, I guess, and enjoy it themselves. I think it's crazy seeing all these people on TikTok and seeing these tribute shows. It's incredible how it's still sort of going and still as alive as ever. And I think if a tribute show is what sort of instilled it in me, it's probably going to still instill it in people, 10 years from now. So I think that just sort of emphasizes the importance of keeping the legacy alive in all these different ways.
Will you be able to see the MJ musical in England when it comes? Is that on your list?
My fingers are crossed. I was talking with my parents about this literally just a couple days ago, and we think it's possible. So London's not too far away. So hopefully, I'd love to see it, because you've seen it in New York, right?
Yes, and I'm lucky it was with Miles Frost, because sometimes the other actors there, which they said he was good, but it's a lot of money, and you're just like, I want Miles Frost.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I look forward
I can't
to you
wait.
seeing that, and hopefully people from the MJ musical would like to, be interviewed by you, including Miles
I'd
Frost.
love
Just
that.
throwing that out there, Miles.
Yeah, if he's watching.
Right? Well, I know people that know his manager. Maybe I could say, hey, can you forward this YouTuber to Miles? Because I know someone who knows their manager. That's all I'm saying. I will definitely get the information forward.
Thank you very much.
My daughter Helly and I are incredibly proud to have met Red.
Hi, Andrea.
Awesome.
Thanks so much for watching. Yeah, we're gonna see you again in October. Can't wait. It's gonna be fun, and like I said, the community is just so I think when people say there's this feeling and energy about Michael, obviously I wasn't there, so I don't know, and I'm just hearing from these people. But I think from being with the MG community, whether it's in person at events like Convention or here online, I think I sort of feel that, the energy of, you kind of feel what I think it was like to be sort of in his presence, in his prime. I assume it's that same sort of feeling, that we feel at these events when we're all together.
I'm very blessed. My friends are from the industry. I've met a gazillion celebrities. I've been able to actually chill with them. I've never seen a fan base or energy from the MJ community. I just nothing like it. I can't. The closest comes Star Wars. Shout out to my Star Wars heads, but you just don't. There's nothing like it, and I'm like, I hope you get to experience more things. It does get better. The scary and awesome thing, it does get better because you're going to meet more people around the world. You're probably going to be like me. You're going to get your passport and start coming back and forth. I only got to go to Paris once, but keyword, it will be more times. I will be overseas. I know me and you're going to meet. I'm like,
for sure.
There's nothing like this fan base. It's just not
Uh-huh.
Oh, Jenny writes, the fact that Red is 15 and pulled everyone he did on Saturday was incredible. Yeah.
I'm super grateful for that. I'm super grateful for you coming on, Jenny. I mean, like I said, it's just sort of, I count my blessings, and it's an honor to sort of have these moments.
Jenny was actually one of my favorite stories because it ties into some of the drama that's going on now. Because she's I consider a character witness. This is someone that's like, let me tell you something. Let me speak because I know who Michael is. So it's just I appreciate Jenny's story. That's what I said. This was so well curated. Just so many different levels of Michael. Guys, I can't stress it enough. Let me make sure I put this slide up. You guys have to see this live. If you haven't, it's actually broken up into chapters. So what I do is I'll watch a couple of interviews. I'll do something. Then I come back and I'll do something. So I know a lot of us do not have 11 and a half hours, including myself, but it's broken into chapters. If you don't this is the ultimate way to start celebrating Michael Jackson's week. I've never seen nothing like this. I was like, and you did this live? Huh? I think that was what made this badass. It was live. I'm like, oh snap, what? And then I like how you cleverly took a break. You were like, well, some of this is pre-recorded. I'm gonna get some snacks. I'll be back.
That was a rush though. I mean, I think for lunch I had quite a while for break. I had at least an hour, and then later on in the evening I had a half-hour break. So praise the Lord, we live super close to a McDonald's, so we ran to the car. We drove straight into McDonald's, around the roundabout, through the drive-thru, and we got home, shove it on a plate. Behind the camera here, I was eating my McDonald's when the advert was playing, as quickly as I could. Ate most of it. I left some was cold for later. But it was fine, I succeeded. But yeah, I think doing it live definitely has a different energy, seeing the fans in the chat, and there's just something about it. It makes it a little more thrilling, for sure. Not just getting McDonald's, but just sort of, anything can happen live, and you've got this interaction with the fans in real time.
You guys know I always have a Star Wars stories on the Michael Jackson thing, but I was inspired to do lives from Star Wars Theory, because at the time we were in the pandemic, and I was isolated from everybody, all my geeky friends. I just felt alone. And we were just all watching and talking about Star Wars. And just like the MJ community, even though I've watched Star Wars my entire life, I'm more into it now, really into it. And I feel like live pushes the needle like nothing else. It connects with people in a way. Because I know MJ fans feel like, oh, I'm alone, or I don't know any MJ fans. Even now, even though I have some MJ friends, it's still not the same. It's just you want people to get what you get, and without feeling like, oh, I'm nobody wants to hear what I have to say. Like, we want to hear what each other have to say. It's like, I don't know. It's just so cool. It's like the internet has found a way to bring us together, because it's just like, in New York, it's 4:00 in the afternoon. People are watching this from their desk, because this is how much, like, so I wanted to bring that community from Star Wars into, the Michael Jackson / Jackson family community. And I was just like, I'm so glad you did this live, because I was just like, I was on a freelance job. I hope my client's not seeing this. I kept sneaking, like, I'm just gonna type the stuff. That's why I got quiet at times, because I couldn't talk. I was like, oh. But it was so amazing what I saw, and I was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh wait, somebody else wrote, absolutely and honestly, one of the great things about the internet and how easily we could just dive into one subject. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, the internet's just extraordinary, how right now I'm speaking with you, you're speaking with me, from across the ocean. I'm always in awe of it, and obviously sometimes there's issues, but most of the time it works great, and so, but we're lucky to have all this, incredible sort of means of, staying in contact.
Well, I will, if you ever need anything from me, I will change my schedule, because I know our time differences. I just want to see if there's so many comments. Oh my God, you guys are awesome. Hold on, let me just make sure I get this in. Hold on, I was like, wait, there are comments. That's another thing I like about your stuff. You kept everybody on subject, and when you would ask questions, like, it was so tailored to each person. I was like, either you're super, super smart and you're able to retain information, or you have notes somewhere. I was like, how are you able to, like, keep everything so focused and so tailored to everyone?
Yeah. As for the guests returning, for every single one of my interviews with my questions, I do a brainstorm. So some people, I write 50, 60 questions, just boom, all down on a Word document. And for most of my guests, almost every single interview, I've somehow managed to, cut the ones out that aren't as good, or sort of combine a few into one, or simplify things. So I've got a nice, short-ish list of questions. And pretty much every time we've managed to go through that within time. So there were one or two guests where there was a couple sort of remaining I didn't manage to get to, so I could ask them on Saturday. But for the rest, it was just sort of, I always want to tailor my questions, because if the questions aren't tailored, you could be asking them to anybody, and there's no point speaking with this specific person otherwise. And so I always try to make them as sort of story or insight sort of provoking as I can, or as interesting as I can. And so, yeah, I just kind of do some research. With the guests returning, I rewatched some of my prior interviews, or just looked at the questions I asked, just so I get an idea, okay, what did we cover? By watching everything they said, did they mention this certain thing that I can jump off of? Like, last time we spoke, you mentioned this. Did this ever happen? And so that was sort of the process, really. And obviously keeping that under strict time limits, because half hour per person. And so that got a bit tricky from time to time. But it's just sort of knowing, okay, how much time have I got? How long roughly sort of will it take me to get through these questions? Okay, in the moment, should I cut some of these out? You've just kind of got to think in the moment, on the go, and just kind of not wing it, but just kind of pray and just sort of strategize it.
Yeah, dude, that's not easy what you did. I want you to know that. Like, I'm telling you, you may not know this, but I'm telling you, like, you say it like, oh yeah, I'm like, dude, that's not easy what you just did. If it was 5 guests, I'd have been like, cool. No, it was 30 of us. Like, Like, if one thing I noticed you got from Michael, and I hope this stays the same about you. You're extremely humble. I was just like, no, I do live. I'm telling you, what you just did was not easy. I'm telling you, because I was just like, oh, like, and I think that's why there's, a saying from Michael Say the Great. What you did was great, and I don't care. You can be humble if you want to. I'm just telling you what you just did was great, because I was just like, that's hard. That's really hard what you just did, because it's like you found a way to say, you know what, time's running out, but I'm going to find a way to, run out of. I don't know. It's just. I don't know what your future is, Red, but I just want to say at least I was part of this epic thing. I was like, what just happened?
Yeah, I don't know what to say other than thank you. I mean,
I know, but I know how you feel, because when people compliment me, I'm like, oh my God, what's going on?
Yeah.
So I get it, but I was just like, I get really excited about stuff like this. I get excited about learning about lighting, learning about lives, how to make them more efficient. Like, because of you, I actually study StreamYard better, because I was like, wait a minute, you do more lives than him. You need to master that software, because I'm like, I'm still like, how did he do this? How did he do that? And actually, I do have a question that I don't want you to answer, but the number one question I got was, how do you get your guests? If I were you, keep that to yourself, because that is your superpower. Because it's like, wait. Honestly,
it's not easy. I will say that much.
I'm sure it's not.
Because you send hundreds of messages and you might get a very, very small amount of replies. And even with those replies, how many are going to say yes? You get way more no's than yeses. Like, you wouldn't think so. But people are busy, and just a lot of people just aren't interested. A lot of people just don't want to talk about Michael Jackson because of other aspects surrounding his life. And so, yeah, I mean, it's a challenge, but that's kind of the fun of it. It makes it so much more exciting when you do, sort of land that interview. It makes it all so much better. But I get asked that sometimes on Instagram. I get people asking, but you don't want to say, you want to answer. Yeah, you want to answer, but you don't want to say too much, because obviously it's great people keeping Michael's legacy alive, but I would never recommend doing this similar or same thing as me, because not just an ego thing, not just sort of, I don't want competition, get away, but just because it's been done. I think to succeed, especially on YouTube, you've got to do something unique and different.
Exactly.
Otherwise, it's not really going to go too well. I think you've got to put some sort of interesting twist on things, or just try and do stuff that hasn't been done before. So,
and you mentioned the rejection. A lot of people can't take rejection. I have asked people in person, and I've been rejected in person. It doesn't stop me from asking, though. Hi, can you be on my channel? Like you said, you get a lot more no's than yeses.
Oh,
and you can't have an attitude, and don't be like, oh, Red should have said yes. Look, Red will say yes in the future. I will, I'm one of those people, like, I'm fine with rejection, because I know sooner or later someone's going to say yes.
Yeah,
and you celebrate the yeses.
Yeah, absolutely. It just makes the yeses so much more fun, I guess. And I think that overcoming rejection just kind of comes a bit more with time, the first few no's, it's, especially if it's one you're really hoping for, it's a little, not crushing, but a little disappointing. But after you get a certain amount of them, it's just like, you kind of expect a no, so that when you get a yes, it's like, yes! You get what I mean?
You're like, wait, you said yes? What? I would, oh my God, I won't say who I got the no's from, because how I feel now, it's just not my time for the things that I've asked. And that's fine.
Yeah, you just got to keep going and go with the good vibes. Yeah, exactly.
It's like, oh my
God. Yeah, you
goodness.
just got to keep the good vibes and just positive mindset, and just be grateful for what you have done, but also keep moving forward and have plenty of ideas. So if some don't go ahead, you have sort of, not backups, but other alternative sort of options.
Yeah. So somebody said the fact he has accomplished all this at the age of 15 is extremely inspirational, and yes,
appreciate that.
Extremely. Like, you know, we spoke privately. I thought you were way older because I was like, there's no way. There's no way you're doing all this at this age. So
I
I'm
mean,
like,
you can't start too early, I guess.
well,
Yeah.
there are things in your life that will lead to who you will be in the future. And so just keep going, because nothing, God does things by design. So, but I'm not gonna lie, I would love to fast forward your life 20 years from now. I just want to see what's gonna happen, because I'd be like, if you're doing this young, what the heck? Like, I find people that have your type of traits really excel in the future. Like, I can't even put that in words. I have a lot of entrepreneurial friends in my lives and people that are just go-getters, and I'm just like, I'm more of a creative, free spirit. So, with a twist of an entrepreneurship. And so, thank God, my entrepreneur side's finally starting to kick in more. But, you know, Jenny writes, and this is true, MJ community is absolutely the best. I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Absolutely.
Oh, snap, AJ! Are you familiar with And Justice for Some?
I am on Twitter. Yeah, she retweeted my tweet about that live stream Saturday. So yeah, super grateful.
I love her, and she is totally impressed with you too. I was just like, there's so much positive things about you, Red. I'm just gonna put them on screen, even though I'm getting overwhelmed. I'm like, well, I'm starting to tear up. I'm like the big YouTube sister, like, oh, this is awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much. And back to what you were saying about the rejection, I think one of the big things that's helped is just kind of thinking, like you said, everything just kind of happens for a reason, and things will go the way they go, and, you know, everything's just sort of planned out by someone somewhere. And so if stuff happens, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And either way, things will work out however they're supposed to, I guess.
Yeah. I think a lot of people can't deal with that. Like, especially when I first got into the Jackson journey, I was asking every Jackson, you know, like, how do I get to them? And it's nobody was being helpful at all. And you know, there's a saying, what's meant for you is meant for you. I got lucky. I was watching Wendy Williams, which is rare, live. And she said, oh, the toys at the pizza shop. This pizza shop was 30 minutes from my house. And that one interaction changed everything. So it's just like, it was meant for me to meet a Jackson. Because it's like, wait a minute, she doesn't live in New York, but she's in New York today. And I was so happily off. And I mean, it was funny. Even my outfit was on standby as if I was waiting for this moment my whole life. And probably I was. So I was just like, a lot of people were like, oh, you're so lucky, Trish, or you're so lucky, Red. We get so many more no's than yeses. And you have to be strong, and you have to be confident that your time and what's meant for you will be for you.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, because everything happens for a reason, what's meant for you is meant for you. But yeah, I think it takes a certain amount of that positive mindset and sort of being strong. Because there were times where I thought, you know, it's been months and I haven't gotten an interview. I'm not sure if I'll just kind of stop it here and focus on my film channel, try and set that one up. Or vice versa, stop that and go to the Michael Jackson one. Or just stop entirely and, you know, just try to make the channel something else, I guess. But yeah, just sticking with it sort of worked out. And so I think that's what you've got to do, I guess.
Yeah. One of my favorite stories is from Star. What's her name? Star something?
Star Hayes?
Yes. And she was saying, like, she knew she was going to meet Michael Jackson, but she didn't know how. You have to have a very positive mindset. Like, that's why I won't surround myself with negative people no more. And actually, the older I get, the smaller my circle's getting. Because I was like, I'm so different that I realized, like, that it's just best that I say to myself sometimes. Because it's just like, I really believe in manifesting, and I believe that we all have the power to get what we want with hard work and discipline. And a lot of people don't believe me, and I'm like, I'm telling you, it's true. Like, it really works. So when I heard Star's story, I was like, that's how I think.
Yeah.
Like, I resonated with so many of your guests and how they think, and I'm like, you know, like, some people be like, oh, like, I promise you, people are probably gonna want to be your friends and this, that, and the third. be open to it, but also be mindful who thinks like you, and make sure
Yeah.
those are the people you're around. Are they ambitious like you? Are they creative? Do they like Minecraft?
Yeah.
Do they like Star Wars? Like, you want people to really get you, because
Yeah.
it's people can be complicated, and it's just like friendship should never be complicated. Relationships should never be complicated. YouTube should never be complicated. You have to love what you're doing and love the people
Oh, yeah.
you're around.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, good advice there. And another story that's coming to mind now, one of my first interviews was Carl O'Reilly, the tribute artist. And I vividly recall him saying that he was going to see Diana Ross in concert, and he knew that she always pulls a fan up on stage to dance with her. And so he was saying how he really has this belief that you can sort of manifest things in a way. And so I remember him saying that he wrote it down, sort of, manifesting, just putting his energy or what he wanted to happen when he wrote it down. And then for some reason, I don't recall exactly why, but he wrote it down twice. He goes to the concert, he gets chosen, and he gets chosen twice. So I think things just kind of work out in a strange way sometimes.
So here's my question for you, because we've been doing manifesting YouTubes here and there this year.
Yeah.
What are you manifesting for a special guest? If you had to pick one person,
Just one?
I won't give it a time frame. You know what? As many as you want to list, because I feel like there's power in words. So nothing beats a platform like YouTube. Who are the special guests that you would like on your channel, YouTubers, or from Michael's past, or the Jacksons?
Oh, goodness. Well, you've got to keep it realistic, first and foremost.
No, that's the key thing. You don't keep it realistic. That's actually the power, too. No, I'm serious. I'm positive. The stuff I requested, I can't say it all out loud because I want to make sure I don't block my blessings, are ridiculous. And I always get it. I'm telling you, no, don't be realistic. Go for it. That's part of manifesting. I'm telling you the truth.
Yeah.
Go for the stars. You got it. And
You
sing.
got it. Hell no.
Go for it.
Yeah, I mean, the Jacksons would be a dream, because that's sort of, can you get much higher than that? Then obviously you got some other really big players there. Saida Garrett, Brad Buxer, Michael Prince, Rich and Tone, Jamie King, Randy Allaire, who else? Dara Finnessy. So sort of Michael's other band and touring crew are the first that comes to mind. Then obviously on the bigger scale, I guess, the Jacksons. Also some studio people would be really cool, because I haven't sort of delved into that too much on the channel yet. On that live stream, I spoke with Rob Disner, who's the first person I ever really spoke to in depth about working with Michael in the studio. So then you've got like Brad Buxer, Michael Prince, Matt Forger, that sort of role, or the engineers, I guess. I'm trying to think. You put me on the spot here.
I'm sorry.
No, it's good. I mean, really high one again. Kenny Ortega would be,
Oh, no, that's a big one.
That is a big one. Very ambitious, but yeah, I'll leave it at that for now. Don't want to be too greedy, but.
So if anybody's seen this live, I personally don't have any connects, but please reach out to this guy. You watch his 11.5-hour live. I promise you won't be bored. And say, hey, I need to contact this young man. He's going places. Because it's just like, that's another thing I find fascinating about you and Joey and Tori. How do you guys know all this stuff about like the engineers and stuff? Like, do you just study liner notes? Like, how do y'all know this? Like, I never even thought to go, well, who's the person behind this? Like, I never even thought to think like how you guys think. Like, what makes you say, let me get behind? Like, what makes you go, I not only know Michael, but I know these people. Like, where does that start in your head? I'm curious.
Well, I think the first thing that comes to mind is just knowing that obviously people are extraordinary, but they can't get there without the help of others. And so I think I was probably just... The channel starting out, I called it Red Jackson Dance, and at first it was going to have a bit of an emphasis on dance. And because of my Instagram account, I obviously followed Lavelle, Travis Payne, Rich and Tone. So I think I knew some of the dancers just from following them online. Then you find out, you watch This Is It, and you think, who's this person? Who's that person? Then you go back on the Wikipedia page of the tour, and you see these names. Or you see a certain video of Michael Jackson. I saw one, it was behind the scenes of Black or White, and Michael was joking around with some dancers, John Landis, and a body double. And the video was pretty popular with fans a few years back. I remember seeing the video and thinking, that body double, that's pretty interesting. He must have some cool stories. I really wonder who it is. I just kind of think that way, I think. And so I was trying to find out his name for ages. Then I found out his name, Derek Morgan, and then trying to get into contact with him for ages, and then it just happened. So I think a part of it is just kind of that thinking, that mindset, just wondering, you know? Just, who could that be? Who? I've seen this photo. Who is that guy standing right next to Michael?
Right.
Or the moonwalk, iconic. Where did Michael learn that from? The lean. Whose idea was the lean? Was it Michael's or was it someone else?
Right.
I think it is just kind of that way of thinking.
Oh my God, I keep thinking that way. Because I was just like, I remember we went to Vegas last year and Tori goes, that's Rich and Tone. And I'm like, what? And she said it like, duh, like you should know who this is. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't, but like you guys, I'm so like my fascination in the community has always been the fans, because I'm
Right.
blessed. The ones who do a lot of powerful things are in New York and in Cali, and that's my focus. But
Yeah.
you have definitely made me go, you need to dig a little deeper, Trish. Even though I'm still going to always focus on the fans. Hey, MJ community. But
Yeah.
you really got me like, I've never studied a live like yours. I'm like, well, who's this person? Who's Kenny Garcia? Like, I was really doing homework when I saw your live.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, it's just bringing an excitement in Michael's legacy that I'm just so open to, and I'm so grateful for you, because I'm just like, everyone contributes to this Michael Jackson legacy. I don't know what
Yeah.
to call this chapter. Call it the magic
Yeah.
years, the Michael Jackson magic years.
I like
Because
that.
I just
That has
feel
a ring to
like
it.
this is magic. I'm telling you, this is not normal. When people pass away, that people put this much love and emphasis on their career. I'm telling you guys, it's not. If you are not aware of this, for everyone that's in this live, for everybody who's in streaming, everybody who does anything from Michael Jackson, you were part of the magic years. And I hope to God that it just keeps getting bigger and bigger. And I thank you for being
Yeah.
part of it. Because I was just like, if you got me thinking like, why don't I know who these people are? I should know who these people are. Like, I love people who make me just inspire me. And I just like, I'm sure
Right.
a lot of people watched your live and probably saw it twice, because they were like, or maybe like 4 times.
I mean, that takes a lot of patience. I mean, 11 and a half hours. So, yeah,
No,
like I
love
said,
to
I can't
learn. You
I
don't
can't
have no
emphasize
idea.
enough how grateful I am. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't be able to have the opportunity to speak with these people in the first place if it wasn't for the incredible MJ community and all the people watching. And so I'm counting my blessings and
Before we go, I just got to add this funny thing. The
Uh-huh.
bubbles thing had me on the floor. How did Bubbles become? I feel like I need to be like Ron P and go see Bubbles. How did
Yeah.
Bubbles become like part of the movement here? I was like, this is so funny. I was like, do I need to see Bubbles now? Like, that was so cool.
Another dream interview, Bubbles. He's up there. He's up there now.
I was just like, y'all had me cracking up with the Bubbles moment. I was just like, and of course, everybody, you know, I love my YouTuber NJ community. Let me just get this up. Make sure you follow Red, not only on this channel, but he's like me, and in terms of he likes things outside of Michael, and he loves Star
Yeah.
Wars and Stranger Things. So make sure you follow this channel as well.
Thank you
Is
so
there
much.
anything else you want to plug?
Anything else I want to plug? No, just those, I guess. YouTube Red Jackson Dance, YouTube Red's Reviews and Interviews. I'm on Twitter, Red Jackson Dance, and Instagram, Red Jackson _MJ. I think that's all in the description on my link tree. I'm on TikTok, but I don't really use it that much.
Yeah, I'm the same. One day
Facebook,
I'll
Red
get it.
Jackson. But yeah, that's about it. And yeah, I just want to thank you, Trish. I mean,
Oh, thank you.
it's such a pleasure, and I really, really appreciate all your support over these years.
Oh, I'm so glad. You know me. I'm team supportive. I love my community, and I know it's hard to do what you do. I think it's even harder when you're younger because you got to deal with your peers, and you're still trying to figure yourself out and how to deal with. There's a lot. I think you guys have it harder when you're younger because it's hard because some people don't get where you're coming from, and it's just like you have to build a thick skin. So keep building your thick skin and keep doing what you're doing because it's really brave to be on social media. People don't get it. You put yourself out there, and sometimes people could be mean and critical, and you have to say, I'm going to shake this off, and I'm just going to keep moving. It's harder when you're younger. I mean, thank God my mom taught me young, like, when people tease you, you stand up for yourself. But some people, it's just harder when you're younger, and I admire you guys for that.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
Wait, I have one more question because this is the whole thing.
Yeah.
How are you celebrating, Michael? I mean, even though you kicked it off.
No, I'm going to be sleeping this week. I'm going to be sleeping now, recovering. 3 live streams in a row. My gosh. No.
Right?
Celebrating Michael. I think the biggest thing for me now is just kind of checking out what everyone else is doing. Just keeping an eye on the social media, watching some people's channels, watching some Instagram stuff, Twitter, just seeing what events are out there, seeing what people are up to, seeing people's videos and projects they're creating. Just staying in the loop with the MJ fam, as they call it, I guess. Yeah, I guess I'm always listening to his music, just constantly sort of staying in the loop with what's going on. And yeah, that's about it.
Unfortunately, because of the time difference, we're actually kicking off Celebrate Michael in exactly an hour and a half on Station Head. Do you have Station Head?
I don't.
Do you have any paid subscriptions like Apple Music or Spotify?
I have Spotify, yeah.
If you ever get a chance, if you have premium Spotify, pick one day, even if it's for 30 minutes, to sign up, peek your head in those rooms. I'm sure people really want to get to know who you are. And, that's the only thing about time differences. Like, by the time we start, you're probably going to bed, but just say, hey, it's me, Red. And, just let people know who you are. Oh, snap. Yeah. AJ just said, come to our Station Head parties. Yes.
Yeah, I'll try and check that out.
Yeah, that's something
Sounds
that
cool.
I just love. And I learned that from Melanie and AJ and Tori about the Station Heads. And it's just a whole level of fandom like no other.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to be on Station Head. I might be at the Spike Lee party. And, whatever happens, happen. I'm more of a free spirit. Wherever I pop up, I pop up.
I feel you.
So, oh man, can we listen to Station Head in the UK? I believe AJ's responding to that, and the answer is yes. Yeah, it will be late, but you can. Thank you, AJ. She's so on it. I love her. So if you guys are not too tired, please head over to Station Head. We'll be there at 6 o'clock, and the information on that is definitely in the live before. But it's all about Red today. I'm here for it. And oh, cool. Yeah, please. I will be there. Even though my family's around, I will definitely be in the chat. So I'm excited. And thank you again. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for just doing this. Thank you for kicking off Michael Jackson Week on an epic level. And thanks for inspiring, Red. I appreciate you.
Of course, and I appreciate you too. And I'll have to have you back on the channel sometime. We'll do some sort of YouTuber chat again.
Count me in. I have some YouTuber friends. Let me know if I can help in any way.
Certainly will. Yeah, I'll keep in touch. We'll make something happen.
All right. Sounds good. Thank you again, everybody. And thank you, Red. Let me make sure we're ready to do the outro. I said I'm going to be on point today.
Ooh, we've got an outro? That sounds cool.
Well, nothing fancy. All I got to do is just that and then music. And that's it.
Yeah, I'm ready for
it. All right, guys. See you soon. Happy MJ Week. Bye.
Happy MJ Week. Red Jackson out. Thanks for watching.